Now time for some of today's trending tickers. You can scan the QR code below to track the best and worst performing stocks of the session with Yahoo Finance's trending tickers page. First up, we got Pfizer. The activist Starboard Value taking a $1 billion stake in the drug maker. Yahoo Finance's Anjali Kamlani has been all across this one. She joins us now with more on what this means for Pfizer. What does this mean then?
Well, let's take a step back and just note that this is a report right now. Pfizer has declined to comment and confirm any moves. And so, yes, $1 billion stake from this activist investor. We know that in the past, they have been involved in some healthcare deals, like they tried to break up the Celgene and Bristol-Myers Squibb move way back when. But what's really important to note about this move is that Pfizer has really been in the spotlight since the decline of COVID, but even before that. Back in 2019, in the pre-COVID era, a lot of eyes were on Pfizer to see what it was going to do with some of the same problems that it currently still faces, which includes a patent cliff for many of its blockbuster drugs, as well as how it will come out, and this is the new part, how it will come out of the pandemic era and those blow away revenues that we saw from the COVID products. We know for the vaccine, for example, a grand total of $86 billion over 3 years for full year reporting on sales there. Meanwhile, we know that since then, it's been quite a decline. We're looking at just mid to low single digits for the vaccine this year, plus Paxlovid will put it into maybe low double digits. So that's been a concern for investors. We know that Pfizer's CEO, Albert Bourla, has told us, we've been covering this for a few years, the stock hasn't moved. And so he's told us that he's done as much talking to investors as he can about where the company is going. The company has invested somewhere in the ballpark of $67 billion, and that's including that $43 billion acquisition of Seagen. So they have been making the moves or trying to indicate, to investors that they understand the patent cliff, they understand that their pipeline is in question. Bourla himself put his pension into the stock earlier this year, just bet his entire pension. And so the company has been making moves, but it clearly hasn't done enough to move the stock up. You can see on your screen, it's largely flat and has been so even during the pandemic era, when other companies we know saw blow away results in their stock. So that's been the concern. We'll see what the turnaround, sort of demands are from this activist investor. We don't know many details just yet. We just know that this is the context, this is the problem, and here's someone who wants to allegedly fix it. We do know that they've been in touch with former C-suite, including the just prior CEO to Albert Bourla. So we'll see what they have on tap.
Yeah, certainly. And Anj, I know that we've talked time and time again just about the underperformance of this name. And obviously, this has been a huge issue for investors, for analysts out there. I'm curious, though, we don't have many details just on what exactly Starboard is pushing for here. But in terms of the turnaround or what analysts would like to see happen, I mean, that's something that's going to take quite some time, too. So would it still require the street to be rather patient here for the next several quarters?
Absolutely. And that's been the thing the company has signaled for a while. Every quarter when they do meet and when they have had discussions with investors, we do see the notes that come out from the analysts, and they do regularly say, that this will take time. It's a long-term process. All these acquisitions that have been made for the products to then contribute to the pipeline based on the expected reduction from these products that are going to go off patent. All this is going to take time, and the company has indicated that investors have been listening. So it's just a question, I guess, of how quickly that turnaround can happen and what else maybe they can do, cost cutting and otherwise that they've already expected. They did raise their guidance for the year, it's important to note. So that's one interesting thing. But we do know, of course, COVID sales and the like are not going to be what they were in the past. So we'll have to see how it all balances out.
We will. All right, Anj, great stuff. Thanks so much for breaking that down for us.